Hey everybody, this is Steve with Smitty's Fly Box. I'd like to introduce the beginner tying box for May. We're going to tie a hot butt caddis. This is just an elk hair caddis, but we're going to add a little pink yarn on the back. It gives it a little attraction and spices it up a little bit. So this is a great summertime dry fly. It floats really well, you can see it really well, and it's a lot of fun to tie. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just start with our hook. We've got a size 14 dry fly hook, and I've sent some Semperfli 8/0 thread, which works really well because we're going to cinch down on that elk hair, and but it's a small thread, so it won't break, but it will cinch down really nicely. So we'll just attach our thread just somewhere there in the middle of the hook and snip off the excess. Now the first thing we're going to do is focus on that hot butt. So I've sent you two different colors of egg yarn, so you can make a variety, mix match, whatever you'd like, and you don't need much. I've just snipped off a small amount right there for that butt, and so that package will go a long ways. It may be a little frayed like that to start, and I'm not going to worry too much about that because we'll trim it down here as we go. So all right, I'm going to lay that yarn right there along the hook and just carefully gather that and tie down those butts. And we're going to tie those down right down to the very end of our hook shank, directly above the barb of the hook, and that's where we can snip that off. So I'm going to come in here and snip that off, and then if I need to clean a little bit around, I can do that. And now we'll just tie down any of those butt ends there. All right, let's take our thread right back to that tie-in point directly above the barb of the hook. And what I've got is just a whiting saddle hackle, nice long piece. That's going to tie 20 of these probably. And I'm going to start here at the butt end and just clean off a little bit of that stem so I can tie that in right there at that tie-in point. And secure that in. Let's take our thread right back to that spot and just leave that hackle out the back. Now we can begin dubbing the body of the fly. So I'm just using some brown dry fly dubbing, and you don't need much at all. It's better to add a little bit as you go as opposed to getting too much, and it's real easy for you to get too much dubbing. So I'm going to start there with my middle finger and my thumb and just lay that along the top of the thread, and then I can start at the top and just work my way down, and I can coat a good 2 or 3 inches of a nice even layer of that dubbing. Now as I dub forward, I can build the body. So I'm going to add a little more. Again, hold that thread out to you, get a nice wisp there, and we'll start at the top and dub all the way down. I'm not going back and forth, I'm going in one direction like that. And we're going to dub almost to the eye of the hook, and I'm trying to build a little bit of a taper so it gets a little bit thicker up here as we go. And we want to stay about an eye length back behind the eye of the hook. And that looks pretty good. All right, now we can begin wrapping our hackle, so we'll wrap over the top away from us, like that, and just space it out nice and even, working our way forward. And once I get to the end, I can hold it straight up with my right hand, and we'll drop our thread over with my left hand about 3 times, and that ties down that hackle. Now we can snip off the excess like that. Let's just make a few turns right there just to secure that hackle down. All right, now I'm going to tie in my elk hair. So I've got a nice patch of elk hair here, if you can see that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off, just come along the first row right here, and I'm going to try to get a hook or a scissor full amount and trim that off, and we'll put it in the stacker. We're going to dump that hair in there tips down and stack that up. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just hold the stacker there nice and flat so those tips are out the back, and then I can grab a hold. And I've got a nice piece of elk hair there. You want it like a paintbrush almost. Okay, so I want those tips to extend almost even with our hot butt right there. So once I have that measurement, I'll hold it there with my left hand. And the tricky part is tying in this elk hair. So first thing is that elk hair wants to spin on you. So just come in real loose and gather all those. And then as I can add a little tension, and we'll repeat that, a little more tension. And we'll do about 3 good turns there before I let go with my left hand. And that should stay up on top. Now we need to really anchor that to the hook. So let's pull all those butts back. And let's make a few turns right up there underneath. And then I like to come right back and just work your way through again, right over the top. And then we can come right back underneath, and that's where we'll whip finish. We'll trim these butts down in just a second, so let's whip finish right up underneath there. So let's pull those butts back, and we'll do our whip finish. Oops. We'll do our whip finish right up under all that hair there, and get a good nice knot in there, like that. And now let's just brush those butt sections back forward, separate the butts from the tips. All right, now I'm going to just trim all that off, so I like to just pinch it right there and come up in here right even with the eye of the hook and trim those butts like that. Brush those back. And now what I've got is a nice high floating dry fly that's going to sit up there real well, and it has a little attraction there on the butt end there. So that's the hot butt caddis.